The air is thick with humidity, the kind that makes you aware of every breath. The canopy above filters sunlight into dappled patches on the ground. But I'm used to it now. The sky is a deep blue-green, tinged by distant clouds. It's always warm here, even at night. I pull out my equipment from the backpack: environmental sensors, data loggers, and cameras. They're standard issue, robust against the elements. The interface displays boot-up sequences and quick flash of status checks, diagnostics, readiness indicators. Everything hums softly as it comes to life. The terrain is steep here, a mix of dense undergrowth and jagged rocks from old outcrops. I navigate carefully, stepping over roots and around boulders. My boots are sturdy, but they're not meant for this kind of wear and tear. The soles grip well enough, though the edges are already showing signs of wear. I set up the first sensor array near a small stream that trickles through the vegetation. It's designed to measure water quality, soil composition, and wildlife presence. I input coordinates into my handheld device, sensing it with the larger database back at base. The screen confirms the connection. A green tick mark appears as each data point is uploaded. As I work, I notice a few creatures scurrying about, usual suspects. Small lizards darting across paths, birds flitting from branch to branch, and insects buzzing in tight circles. They're not particularly interested in me, just going about their business. It's routine for them too. I move on to the next location, clearing a short distance away where I can set up a more comprehensive air quality monitor. The wind shifts slightly as I reach it, carrying with it a faint scent of wet earth and vegetation. I attach the device to a sturdy tree trunk, securing it tightly against any potential gusts. It's a basic safety measure, nothing extraordinary. The data from each sensor feeds into my system continuously, displaying readings on the screen. Oxygen levels, particulate matter, microbial activity, everything is tracked meticulously. The process is methodical. I know the routine by heart now. Each setup takes about 15 minutes to complete, and then it's just a matter of moving on to the next spot. As I pack up one station to move to another, my mind drifts slightly to the logistics of it all. Inventory checks, maintenance schedules, supply drops. There's always something that needs attention. But for now, the task is clear. Set up equipment, collect data, transmit findings. It's a pattern that repeats daily. I leave behind no trace but the sensors and their cables, which are designed to blend into the surroundings as much as possible. The environment here doesn't seem particularly affected by my presence. I'm just another piece of machinery moving through it. The next site is up ahead, a rocky outcrop with sparse vegetation. It's a natural barrier that might affect wind patterns and air quality differently, so it's important to capture those variations. As I set up there, the landscape feels more stark, less forgiving. The rocks are sharp underfoot, but my boots handle them well enough. The sun begins its slow descent toward the horizon as I work through the afternoon. Shadows lengthen, but the light remains strong. It's a constant rhythm data collection, movement data collection. Each setup is part of a larger puzzle, each piece contributing to an overall picture of environmental impact. By late afternoon, I've completed my rounds for the day. The sensors are in place, the data logged, and everything secured for nightfall. As I pack up the final station, I take one last look around. The forest stretches out before me, dense and unyielding, but also resilient. It's a reminder of what this job entails, turning natural systems into measurable liabilities. I head back to base as the sky darkens, the stars beginning to appear overhead. The routine is comforting in its predictability, even if it feels like I'm part of something larger that doesn't necessarily align with nature's rhythms. But for now, it's just another day on shift. The day begins with the morning checklist, each item a familiar step in a well-trodden routine. I review the oxygen levels and recalibrate the environmental sensors. The air outside my quarters is thick with humidity, but inside, it's controlled and sterile. I move to the extraction site, donning the protective gear that feels like an extension of myself now. Gloves, helmet, boots, each piece clicks into place without thought or hesitation. The terrain outside is lush and vibrant, but through my goggles, it's muted, a backdrop for work rather than nature itself. The equipment hums as I start the day's tasks. A new batch of samples needs to be collected. The protocol is clear, the steps methodical. I navigate the undergrowth with practiced ease, avoiding the thorny vines that would otherwise snag my suit. The plants are green and dense, but they're merely a part of the operational landscape. I set up the collection apparatus, ensuring it's aligned precisely as per the manual. Each sample is cataloged meticulously, data entered into the system without pause or question. There's no room for error here. Each step must be exact to maintain the flow of operations. Breaks are brief and structured. I eat a meal from the ration packs, water bottle at hand for hydration. The food tastes bland, but it serves its purpose well enough. Rest is necessary to continue functioning efficiently, nothing more, nothing less. As the day progresses, my movements become second nature. Tasks follow one another seamlessly, each action part of an unbroken chain that defines me here and now. I'm not thinking about the work's purpose or the planet's life. These are simply conditions to be managed. The rhythm is steady, the tasks exacting. The sun sets behind a canopy of leaves, casting long shadows over the site. Night brings its own set of protocols. Check for wildlife activity in the area, secure equipment against potential risks. The darkness doesn't unsettle me. It's just another condition to adapt to. I retire to my quarters late in the evening, the day's work complete, but tomorrow's already on the horizon. Sleep comes easily, a brief respite before the cycle begins anew. I am here because this work is being done, and that is enough. The persistent hum of distant biological noise permeates the air. It's an ever-present sound, a background chorus that never stops. But I barely notice it as I work through my checklist. The air is thick with humidity, but the suit regulates everything to a steady state. Tasks follow tasks without pause. As I move from one station to another, the hum remains constant, a low drone that doesn't demand attention. It's there, always there, like the constant rhythm of machinery or the distant whisper of water flowing through unseen channels beneath the surface. The noise is part of the environment, a reminder of the planet's vitality, but it fades into the background as I focus on my immediate duties. The hum continues throughout the day. It's a persistent presence, but its relevance diminishes with each passing hour. My hands move over instruments and controls. My eyes scan readouts and screens, all while the noise remains a faint undercurrent. The air is heavy with moisture, yet it feels less oppressive as I get used to the routine. Night falls, and the hum softens slightly. It's still there, but it's now just another part of the night's silence. Sleep comes easily, unbothered by the constant noise that surrounds me. When morning arrives, the hum is back, a familiar tune that doesn't disrupt my awakening. I start the day as I did before, methodical and precise. The days blend together, and with each repetition, the hum fades further into insignificance. It's still there, but it no longer registers as something to be noted or observed. The air remains thick, yet it feels less intrusive, more like a condition of existence rather than an annoyance. My tasks continue without interruption, and I move through them in a state of quiet acceptance. The planet's biological hum is now just another aspect of the environment, a constant that doesn't demand attention. It's there, always present, but it no longer holds my focus. The sensory input has become normalized, part of an unthinking routine. The rhythm of the day flows seamlessly from one person to another. We move in a coordinated dance, each action timed and spaced precisely with our counterparts. The air is thick, with the constant presence of living matter, but it blends into the background as we focus on our tasks. There's no need for words or gestures. Movements are understood through unspoken cues and practice timing. As I transition from one task to another, my actions blend seamlessly with those around me. We form a single unit, each part moving in harmony without individual distinction. The sense of separateness fades as we align perfectly with the rhythm of work. Each person becomes a mere extension of the process, interchangeable and essential at once. The environment remains indifferent, but its challenges are neutralized by our collective efficiency. Breaks come and go like pauses in a symphony, each one marking time before the next movement begins. Sleep offers relief without solace. It's simply another phase to be endured and then discarded as the day resumes. In this state of quiet compliance, there is no room for individuality. We are all part of the machine, moving together with mechanical precision. The edges between us blur into a continuous flow of labor, each action reinforcing the unity of purpose without any emotional tie or personal connection. The hum of the facility's machinery blends seamlessly with the constant background noise of the planet's natural systems. Each day follows a predictable pattern, and I move through it with an automatic precision that leaves little room for distraction. The tasks are routine, but necessary, and my focus remains unwavering as I complete them without pause. The environment around me is indifferent, neither friend nor foe. It simply exists, providing the backdrop against which my work unfolds. The humidity is a constant presence, but it no longer registers as discomfort. Instead, it's just another element of the daily reality that I've grown accustomed to. Breaks come and go in a mechanical fashion, serving their purpose without offering any sense of respite or renewal. Sleep arrives easily, undisturbed by the persistent sounds outside. Each morning, I wake up with renewed acceptance of this unchanging cycle. There's no sense of urgency or dissatisfaction. Everything feels sufficiently managed and contained. As another day progresses, my movements are fluid and efficient. My actions blend seamlessly into those around me, forming a cohesive unit that moves towards its goals without question. Emotions remain subdued, and the environment is perceived neutrally. Challenges overcome efficiently with no lingering distress. I am a part of this system, functioning within it as smoothly as any other component. Tasks continue uninterrupted, each one completed meticulously according to protocol. There is a sense of quiet compliance in my actions, moving through procedures without thought or resistance. The day ends not with resolution, but with a seamless transition into another cycle, continuing the unbroken routine that defines this existence. The environmental risks are inherent to the terrain, and they require constant vigilance. The humidity and heat can be overwhelming at times, but these conditions are predictable and manageable through established protocols. The system is designed to stabilize variables, ensuring that operational efficiency remains unaffected by external pressures. Strictness and impersonality are not arbitrary. They serve a functional purpose. Rules are responses to environmental and logistical challenges, not dictates of authority. Adherence to protocols ensures safety margins are maintained, output levels remain consistent, and schedules proceed without disruption. Efficiency is paramount, and emotional engagement would only introduce variability that could compromise the system. The environment itself becomes a variable in this equation, and it must be controlled or mitigated as necessary. The hum of biological activity may feel constant, but it fades into irrelevance when tasks are automated and routine. Emotions and personal connections can create inefficiencies, so they are minimized to maintain operational integrity. Sleep is a phase for recovery, not contemplation, ensuring that each cycle begins anew without the burden of emotional carryover. The system operates as seamlessly as any well-oiled machine, where individual parts function in concert towards shared goals. Each action is a cog in a larger mechanism, contributing to the stability and continuity of the whole. There is no room for personal whims or distractions. Every task must align with overarching objectives. This works because it has to efficiency and safety are non-negotiable. In this context, harshness isn't about punishment, but about maintaining order and predictability. Challenges are met head-on without hesitation or distress, as they are part of the landscape. The system is resilient by design, adapting to conditions while minimizing disruptions. Every rule serves a purpose in ensuring that operations proceed smoothly. The routine continues without interruption. Each day merges into the next with a uniformity that leaves no room for variation. Tasks are completed in sequence, each step familiar yet devoid of significance. There's an absence of emotional investment, but also an acceptance of this state. Sleep brings no dreams or respite. It merely serves to prepare for another cycle of activities. The environment remains unchanged, sterile, and predictable. Each morning begins with the same motions: rising from bed, preparing a meal, engaging in tasks that offer no sense of achievement beyond their completion. The lack of emotional response is both a comfort and a void. There's an understanding that each day will follow the previous one without deviation. In this state, there's a sense of stability, though it's not rooted in any deeper connection or fulfillment. Tasks provide a structure, but they don't evoke reflection or sentiment. The environment itself feels static, as if time has ceased to have meaning within these walls. Each action is performed out of habit rather than purpose. The absence of what once held importance is not mourned. It's simply replaced by the necessity of routine. There's a comfort in the predictability and efficiency of daily actions, even though they no longer carry any emotional weight. The environment remains unchanged, offering no clues to past significance or future possibilities. Each day blurs into the next with an eerie sense of familiarity. The monotony is both a burden and a relief. It offers no challenge, but also no disappointment. There's a strange comfort in knowing what comes next, even if it brings no joy or fulfillment. The environment remains unchanged, a constant reminder of the lack of change within. Each day is a repetition of the last, offering no new insights or emotions to navigate. Sleep does not bring dreams. It merely serves as a pause before the next iteration begins. There's an acceptance of this cycle, a resignation to its inevitability. The routine continues without reflection or resistance. Each action is performed with mechanical precision, devoid of any deeper meaning beyond its immediate completion. The environment remains sterile and predictable, amplifying the sense of emptiness, but also providing a strange comfort in its constancy. There's an understanding that loss has been replaced by procedure, offering no room for reflection or nostalgia. The monotony continues, each day a repetition of the last with no hope of change or fulfillment. Feeling numb and detached, I move through another day of routine tasks. Each action feels like a shadow repeating itself, devoid of any emotional weight or significance. The sterile environment offers no distractions, only the relentless cycle of monotonous activities that have become second nature. There's an eerie sense of peace in this predictability, but it fails to fill the void within. Tasks continue as they always do, mindless and mechanical. I perform them out of habit rather than any internal drive or desire. Sleep brings no respite. Instead, it serves merely as a brief pause before another day of unchanging monotony begins. The days blend together in an endless loop, each one indistinguishable from the last. As I go through the motions yet again, there's a faint sense of comfort knowing that nothing will change. The tasks offer a semblance of stability and order, but they provide no deeper connection or fulfillment. My mind remains detached, observing rather than participating actively. With another day nearly over, I begin preparations for sleep once more. The routine is familiar and unyielding, offering no surprises or variations. As I settle into the predictable pattern, there's a quiet acceptance that tomorrow will be much like today. The extraction process continues smoothly today. Each shift brings a consistent rhythm of operations, each task meticulously planned and executed to maintain the delicate balance required for our system's sustainability. The metrics are clear: throughput, efficiency, loss margins, resource yield. These numbers define success here. I review the data from yesterday's activities. Resource extraction rates were within optimal ranges, meeting production targets without exceeding environmental tolerances. Any deviations noted were swiftly addressed and corrected through standard protocol adjustments. This ensures that our operations remain sustainable in the long term, adhering to the necessary parameters for ecological balance. Our role here is critical, but impersonal. We are not agents of destruction. We are maintainers of equilibrium. The planet's resources are vast and replenishable within limits. Our task is to extract at a rate that sustains both our needs and the health of this system. Each calculation, each adjustment is made with precision to avoid unnecessary waste or harm. As I oversee today's shifts, the data flows through my screens, analyzed and optimized in real time. The numbers tell a story of efficiency, where every action has its place and purpose. There are no personal stakes in these calculations, only cold, hard facts that dictate our path forward. When viewed this way, discomfort dissolves into mere, variably adjustable parameters within the broader framework. Our system thrives on order and predictability. Any deviation from established norms is a signal for immediate correction, not a cause for emotional response or hesitation. The environment may present challenges, but they are quantifiable and manageable through our protocols. This approach minimizes risks while maximizing yield, ensuring that every resource extracted contributes to the greater good without compromising the integrity of this world. As I step back to observe the bigger picture, each detail aligns perfectly with the overarching goal. Our work here is not about individual impact, but collective necessity. The planet's resources are vast and resilient when managed correctly. By adhering strictly to our methods, we ensure that future generations can continue to benefit from this world without depleting its potential. In this structured environment, each decision feels cleaner when measured against these metrics. There is a rational clarity that eliminates emotional interference or doubt. The system functions optimally because of the precision and adherence to protocol, not in spite of it. This order provides peace and focus, ensuring that every action serves the larger goal without room for individual whims. Once counted, nothing feels personal. Everything is part of an intricate and necessary balance. The environmental pressures have intensified, but they serve to confirm that our operations are proceeding as planned. The subtle hum of machinery and the rhythmic pulse of the air conditioning system provide a steady backdrop, ensuring everything remains within optimal parameters. As I move through my tasks, the constant low-level strain on my body becomes familiar, almost comforting in its predictability. The air is thick with the scent of metal and coolant, mingling with the faint earthy undertones that seep in from the extraction tunnels below. Each breath feels measured, each movement precise. The rhythmic throb of distant machinery syncs with my heartbeat, creating a harmonious rhythm that underscores the necessity of our work. The heat is persistent today, a constant reminder of the energy being harnessed and redirected to sustain the systems we rely on. Sweat beads along my brow, but it's not unwelcome. It's drop an indicator that I'm engaged in the process, contributing to the larger effort with every breath and every movement. The skin beneath my work gloves starts to feel damp from the humidity, but this is expected. It's part of the cycle. My eyes scan the monitors, analyzing data streams for any deviations. Each alert is met not with alarm, but with a focused recalibration, ensuring that every variable remains within the defined thresholds. The screens flicker with green and blue indicators, signaling the ongoing interplay between our systems and the environment. This visual feedback is crucial. It's how we maintain balance, adjusting as needed to prevent any imbalances from destabilizing the network. The heavy equipment outside hums loudly, its vibrations resonating through the ground beneath my feet. It feels like a heartbeat, steady and stronger reminder of the relentless nature of our work. The rhythmic noise is familiar now, almost soothing in its consistency. Each cycle of operation confirms that we're on track, progressing steadily toward our objectives. The environmental stress isn't something to be feared or avoided. It's an inherent part of the system, a tangible sign that we are actively reshaping and stabilizing the landscape around us. Every pulse, every vibration is evidence of progress, reinforcing the necessity of what we do here. The strain on my body and mind serves as a constant reminder of our mission's importance each breath, each step, aligning perfectly with the greater goal. This is how it's meant to be. This is how it works. And in this system, there's no room for doubt or hesitation. Each moment is a testament to efficiency and purpose. As I move through the day, my tasks follow a predictable rhythm. Each step feels measured and necessary, contributing to the larger goal that keeps everything in balance. The environment is thick with the constant hum of machinery, but it syncs with my heartbeat, creating a reassuring harmony. A momentary doubt flickers at the edge of my mind, faint whisper, questioning the necessity of a small adjustment I'm about to make. It's an anomaly, out of place, and I pause briefly, considering if there might be another way forward. The thought is fleeting, but it disrupts the clarity that has become essential for my work. I take a deep breath, letting the thick air fill my lungs. My eyes scan the data panels, reviewing the metrics and calculations one more time. Each number aligns perfectly with the protocols. There's no room for deviation here. The doubt is an inefficiency, a minor glitch in the otherwise smooth operation of the system. I recalibrate internally, acknowledging that every action has its purpose. My work isn't about personal feelings or doubts. It's about maintaining balance and stability. The small adjustment I'm about to make is critical, ensuring that the delicate equilibrium remains intact. Any hesitation would only introduce risk, undermining the precision required for our survival. The doubt dissipates as quickly as it appeared, replaced by a sense of purpose. I proceeded with the necessary adjustments, my movements precise and unwavering. The rhythmic hum of machinery reassures me once more, reminding me that each task is integral to the larger mission. My role here is clear. My work is essential, without room for personal whims. The moment passes and I continue on, feeling grounded in the routine and purpose of my tasks. Each breath, each movement aligns with the greater goal, ensuring that our system remains stable and secure. The rhythmic hum of machinery continues to sync with my heartbeat, providing a steady backdrop to the tasks at hand. Each alert on the monitor triggers an automatic responsive recalibration, a fine-tuning without any emotional interference. The data streams in a constant flow, and I process it methodically, ensuring that every adjustment aligns perfectly with the established protocols. A momentary uncertainty flares up as I contemplate an upcoming calibration, but it dissipates almost immediately. Personal doubts are irrelevant. They only serve to disrupt the smooth operation of the system. I recalibrate my focus inwardly, reaffirming the necessity and correctness of each action. The clarity returns, solidifying my resolve. The thick air and constant heat have become familiar, almost comforting in their predictability. Each breath is measured, a reminder that even discomfort serves a purpose within this framework. My movements are precise, guided by cold facts and strict metrics rather than any emotional whims. Every task contributes to the larger goal of maintaining ecological balance, ensuring stability without compromise. As I complete another cycle of adjustments, I feel a sense of settled certainty. The system is workable, not ideal, but it functions efficiently within its parameters. Any deviations or challenges are minor inconveniences that can be corrected through methodical recalibration. The logic behind each decision feels irrefutable, resolving any lingering doubts with cold clarity. I continue to move through the task with mechanical precision, finding solace in the order and predictability. Each action is a small piece of the larger puzzle, contributing to the overall stability without room for personal sentiment or moral questioning. This detached yet focused approach ensures that every element aligns perfectly with the greater goal, maintaining balance and harmony within the system. The hum of machinery fades into the background as I conclude this phase, feeling settled in my mission. The correctness of each action replaces any lingering uncertainty, leaving me grounded in the predictability and purpose of my work amidst environmental stress. I recalibrate the air scrubbers for the third time today. The thick atmosphere clings to me as I move through the narrow corridors, each breath a reminder of the persistent humidity that seems to seep into my pores. Despite this, every action feels essential and measured. I adjust the settings on the controls, ensuring they align with the latest data from the environmental monitors. A minor glitch alerts me to an unexpected variance in oxygen levels. It's barely noticeable, yet it demands immediate attention. The system doesn't tolerate deviations. Each fluctuation must be corrected promptly to maintain stability. I enter the calibration mode and run through the diagnostic checks, confirming that the scrubbers are functioning as they should. However, the usual efficiency feels sluggish today. There's a slight delay in the feedback loop, a momentary hesitation before the system adjusts itself. This isn't unprecedented, but it requires additional scrutiny to ensure accuracy. I verify each parameter, cross-referencing with historical data to confirm there's no systemic issue at play. The environmental conditions exacerbate this challenge. The air feels denser than usual, making every breath more labored. Yet, the monitors show that they are operating within acceptable parameters, so my adjustments continue methodically. I initiate a series of redundant checks, ensuring that all secondary systems are online and ready to compensate if needed. As I move through these tasks, each step requires more conscious effort than before. The familiar processes no longer flow smoothly. There is an underlying tension that demands vigilance. Yet, the necessity remains clear. Every calibration, every verification is crucial for maintaining balance within this ecosystem. I feel a brief sense of unease as another alert signals a minor deviation in temperature regulation. It's insignificant on its own, but it adds to the cumulative effort required today. I reroute some auxiliary systems and recalibrate the thermal controls, ensuring that all redundancies are engaged. Despite these challenges, each adjustment brings a renewed sense of purpose. The system functions, albeit with increasing friction. Each deviation is minor yet persistent, demanding closer attention and more meticulous oversight. Yet, amidst this complexity, the clarity of my mission remains unshaken. To ensure that every aspect operates flawlessly for the greater good. The familiar hum of machinery syncs with my heartbeat once again, grounding me in the rhythm of maintenance and stability. I find solace in this routine, despite the added effort required today. Each task contributes precisely, aligning perfectly with the larger goal, without room for deviation or doubt. I review the latest sensor readings and projections for tomorrow's operations. The models indicate a stable environment with slight temperature fluctuations within acceptable margins. Yet, as I step outside into the humid air, it feels heavier than anticipated, more oppressive, despite the system's assurances of minimal change. My routine calibrations feel like an exercise in futility. Each adjustment seems to only delay the inevitable discomfort rather than alleviate. The sensors report humidity levels hovering around 75%, but my skin reacts as if it's closer to 90%. I can't reconcile this discrepancy, yet I continue with the protocol, hoping that another set of readings will correct the anomaly. The projections for energy consumption show a steady demand curve, but when I observe the system's performance in real time, there are unexpected spikes and dips. These variations aren't significant enough to trigger an alert, but they disrupt my sense of control. The numbers suggest efficiency, yet the physical presence of lagging responses feels like a tangible barrier. I consulted historical data for similar conditions, searching for patterns that might explain this dissonance. Previous instances showed minor deviations that were easily corrected with routine maintenance. But today, the usual methods aren't yielding the expected results. The environment's unpredictability seems to be scaling up beyond what my models can predict or mitigate. As I delve deeper into troubleshooting, each solution feels like a temporary patch rather than a lasting fix. This inconsistency is unsettling, and it gnaws at the edges of my rational framework. My reliance on precision and certainty begins to waver as reality refuses to align neatly with expectations. I continue my work, but the nagging doubt lingers. The environment's behavior no longer conforms to simplified models or neat categories. Each day feels like an incremental shift away from the familiar stability I once counted on. The humidity clings to me like a second skin, a constant weight that drags at my resolve. Each breath feels heavy and labored, as if the air itself is thick with resistance. The routine tasks that once brought comfort now feel redundant, each action stripped of its usual sense of purpose. I find myself pausing more frequently, checking sensor readings and recalibrating systems, but the familiar patterns no longer align perfectly. The oppressive heat seeps through my clothes, making it difficult to concentrate. A bead of sweat trickles down my spine, leaving a cold trail in its wake as it evaporates. Despite this discomfort, I push forward, driven by an unyielding sense of duty. The environmental feedback becomes harder to abstract away, each small variation nagging at the edges of my focus. A persistent drip echoes through the enclosed space, punctuating the silence with unwelcome regularity. It's not a malfunction, it's just there, relentless and unavoidable. I try to block it out, but it persists, a constant reminder that even the most routine tasks are no longer straightforward. The sensor readings flicker slightly on the display, catching my eye. I recalibrate them immediately, yet the anomaly remains an unexplained blip in an otherwise stable system. It's as if the environment itself is shifting subtly, testing the boundaries of what I can manage and control. My hands tremble ever so slightly as I adjust settings, a physical manifestation of the unease that gnaws at my core. The humidity seems to grow denser with each passing moment, pressing against me like an unwanted presence. The air feels charged with tension, heavy with unspoken warnings. Despite this, I continue to perform the necessary tasks, driven by a mixture of obligation and sheer willpower. Each action takes on added significance, as if the stakes have risen exponentially. The drip continues its relentless rhythm, an annoying echo in my mind. It's not just noise, it's a constant reminder that something is off, that the world around me no longer conforms to the neat logic I once relied upon. The discomfort is impossible to ignore, but every attempt to address it feels futile and fruitless. The sensor anomalies persist, challenging my assumptions with their subtle inconsistencies. Each calibration seems to bring temporary relief, only for new irregularities to appear moments later. It's as if the system itself is shifting, adapting in ways that defy my attempts at control and precision. I press on, driven by a sense of duty, but increasingly aware of the growing dissonance between expectation and reality. The routine tasks feel hollow now, each action more mechanical than meaningful. Yet, I cannot afford to lose focus. There's too much at stake for me to abandon what little stability remains. The oppressive humidity continues unabated, a constant reminder that the environment asserts itself without regard for my comfort or convenience. Despite this, I maintain my vigilance, driven by a stubborn adherence to the system and its imperatives. Each small victory against the anomalies feels hollow, but it's all I have left in an increasingly unpredictable world. The humidity presses down on me like a heavy blanket, making every breath an effort. Yet, I persist with the task at hand, knowing that each calibration and verification is crucial for maintaining stability within the system. It's as if the environment itself resists my efforts, complicating what should be routine procedures. I feel the familiar tug of responsibility pulling me forward. Each adjustment must be precise. There can be no room for error. The sensors flicker with anomalies, but I know these are mere fluctuations, temporary disruptions that my careful recalibrations will correct. My hands move methodically, fingers dancing over controls as I review and re-review the data. The oppressive heat intensifies, dripping sweat into my eyes, blurring vision momentarily. But I wipe it away, focusing once more on the screens before me. The logic is clear. These minor glitches are insignificant when compared to the overarching need for flawless operation. Each fix reaffirms the necessity of vigilance and precision. Yet, there's a nagging sensation at the edges of my awareness, a hint that something isn't quite right. It's as if the environment itself is shifting, defying expectations and throwing off my carefully established routines. I remind myself that these are minor deviations, easily corrected with the proper attention to detail. I repeat the steps again, each one a reminder of why this matters. The system depends on me, and I must ensure it continues to function seamlessly. Despite the discomfort, despite the fatigue, there's an unwavering purpose guiding my actions. Each recalibration feels like a declaration of commitment, tough dedication to the greater good. The anomalies persist, but they are just that, anomalies. They do not challenge the fundamental principles that underpin our operation. I reaffirm this belief with each deliberate action, grounding myself in the necessity and importance of what I am doing. It's as if the repetition is a shield against the growing uncertainty each step, a reinforcement of my resolve. Despite the strain, despite the unease, there's a sense of duty driving me forward. The environment may be oppressive, but it does not define the mission. I push through with sheer willpower, each minor fix a testament to the resilience required here. The discomfort is real, but so too is the clarity of my purpose. I acknowledge the repetition within myself, knowing that it's necessary to maintain the integrity of our system. Each recalibration is a reaffirmation, a reminder of why this matters and how every detail contributes to the larger goal. The logic is clear, even as doubts whisper at the edges. I push them aside, focusing instead on the precision required. The routine tasks feel futile sometimes, but they are essential. Each anomaly is just another challenge to overcome, a test of my resolve. Despite the growing dissonance between expectations and reality, I find solace in the repetition each step, a ritual that ensures stability continues. The environment may be unpredictable, but my commitment remains steadfast. I move on to the next task, each action a deliberate assertion of control. The logic is clear, even as doubts linger. The repetition is not just mechanical, it's a reassurance, a reaffirmation of purpose. Despite the strain, I continue, driven by an unwavering sense of duty. The humidity clings to me, making each breath a chore. I focus on the console before me, my hands moving with practiced precision as I calibrate the sensors one last time. The readings are off again, just slightly a minor glitch that should be easily corrected. Yet, this small deviation feels like an insurmountable obstacle today. I remind myself of my purpose, to ensure flawless operation for the greater good. Each recalibration is essential, a testament to my dedication and competence. But as I work through the latest anomaly, a gnawing doubt creeps in. The sensor data should be consistent. Why then does it fluctuate so unpredictably? My mind races, trying to reconcile these inconsistencies with the established protocols. The environment presses down on me, heavy and oppressive, Each breath feels labored, each movement more deliberate than usual. Yet, I persist, driven by a sense of duty that overrides my discomfort. I correct one glitch after another, grounding myself in the necessity of precision and vigilance. Despite the fatigue, there is comfort in the routine, a familiar rhythm that reaffirms my resolve. Yet, beneath this surface calm, uncertainty simmers. Each minor anomaly amplifies my anxiety, highlighting a loss of control over the system's unpredictable behavior. I push through with sheer willpower, but the effort leaves me feeling hollow and mechanical. The repetitive tasks offer solace, a reminder of my commitment to stability, yet they no longer provide the same reassurance. I stand up, stretching stiff muscles, and walk toward the environmental controls. Adjusting them is a familiar task, one that should bring relief from the oppressive humidity. But as I make the changes, doubts persist. Is this enough? Will it truly stabilize the environment, or will another glitch arise soon? Returning to my console, I run through the data once more, searching for patterns amidst the inconsistencies. Each recalibration feels like a fragile patch over an ever-shifting foundation. The system holds, but only when watched with constant vigilance. I take a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on me anew. Despite the fatigue and discomfort, there is still purpose in my actions. The routine offers solace, grounding me amidst growing dissonance between expectations and reality. Yet, beneath it all, an uneasy tension remains, a sense that nothing rests anymore. The humidity clings heavier, making each breath a chore. Sweat beads on my skin, merging into rivulets that trail down my face and back, dampening my clothes in an uncomfortable embrace. Despite the discomfort, I continue monitoring the system, correcting deviations with practiced precision. A new glitch appears in the sensor data, showing irregularities in temperature readings. I recalibrate the sensors, but the anomalies persist. The environment's unpredictability becomes increasingly evident as I notice subtle change patches of vegetation, wilting despite recent updates to irrigation protocols, and a faint smell of decay creeping through the air. I adjust the parameters again, hoping for consistency, but the discrepancies continue. A small section of soil shows signs of erosion, revealing cracked earth beneath. The data confirms it. Moisture levels are dropping faster than expected, indicating an imbalance that wasn't accounted for in previous models. I update the system with these new readings, yet the adjustments don't fully mitigate the observed effects. Fatigue sets in deeper, making each keystroke and calculation feel more laborious. Despite this, I push through, driven by a sense of duty. My movements become slower, but more deliberate as I work to correct minor issues that now seem magnified against the backdrop of environmental degradation. The repetition offers little solace today. Each task completed feels like a temporary fix rather than a permanent solution. The weight of ongoing maintenance grows heavier with every malfunction, and the environment's response lags behind my efforts. As I finish recalibrating another set of sensors, I notice a cluster of plants that have turned brown and brittle around me. The cumulative impact is visible now. Soil erosion, wilting vegetation, and erratic temperature readings. These outcomes are no longer abstract. They manifest as tangible consequences in the real world, demanding attention beyond mere data points. I continue working, knowing that each minor adjustment might not fully address these broader issues. But there's a resolve to persist despite the mounting evidence of inefficacy. The oppressive environment and its visible signs of degradation remain constants, challenging my ability to maintain stability through routine tasks alone. The soil beneath my boots crumbles as I step into the newly eroded trench, a stark reminder of how quickly things can change. The once vibrant greenery now hangs limp and lifeless, its hue faded to an eerie shade of brown. I kneel down, fingers brushing against brittle leaves and stems, their dryness a testament to the relentless drought that grips this land. My eyes scan the area for any sign of resilience, but there's none, only desolation. With a sigh, I retrieve my tools from my pack, a trowel, some seeds, and a small watering can filled with precious water reserves. The air is thick with dust, each breath a struggle against the choking particulates. My throat feels raw, but I push on, knowing that every second counts. I begin by digging shallow holes for the seeds, careful not to disturb too much of the fragile soil structure. Each seed is placed gently into its designated spot, my hands moving with practiced precision, despite the fatigue weighing heavily on them. The watering can clink softly as I pour water over each tiny planting, a silent prayer that these small efforts will take root and grow. Temperature readings flash across my hoot-erratic spikes and plunges that highlight the environmental chaos surrounding me. My body adjusts to the fluctuating conditions, but it's a mechanical response, devoid of comfort or relief. The world outside my visor is a blur of activity, nature rebelling against the imposed order with each passing moment. I move on to the next plot, repeating the process methodically. Each seedling represents hope in this barren landscape, yet I know full well that sustaining them will be an ongoing battle. My thoughts drift momentarily to the broader implication: soil erosion leading to nutrient depletion, erratic weather patterns causing unpredictable growth cycles, but these are not concerns for now. They're facts embedded in the reality of my work. As night falls, I set up temporary shelters and monitoring stations, ensuring that even when darkness descends, there's no pause in our efforts. The stars above provide a cold, indifferent light, offering little comfort amidst the turmoil below. My fingers ache from hours of labor, but sleep is not an option. There are too many variables to account for, too much to do. With dawn breaking on another day, I resume my tasks with renewed resolve. Each seedling, each adjustment in temperature and moisture levels feels like a fragile thread holding the fabric of this world together. But there's no time for reflection or despair. Every action must be immediate, calculated, relentless. The cycle continues: work, adjust, repeat. The consequences are clear, unyielding, but my actions remain steadfast. There is no end in sight, only the constant push forward against an ever-shifting backdrop of environmental turmoil. The soil is depleted, the plants are wilting. I can see it all around me, stark and unyielding. Each morning, I plant new seeds in hopes they will take root despite the barrenness. It's a futile effort, but there's no alternative. Temperature readings fluctuate wildly now. The machinery hums with strain as it fights to maintain balance. I adjust controls meticulously, even though it feels like each tweak is barely momentary respite from chaos. There's an ever-present tension between what needs doing and the inevitable unraveling. Dust coats everything, settling in thick layers that obscure clarity. It clings to my skin, seeps into crevices. I wipe it away repeatedly, but it returns, relentless and pervasive. The air is dry and harsh on the throat. Each breath feels like a scrape against raw flesh. There's no denying the damage anymore. The land bears its wounds openly, devoid of life and vitality. My movements are mechanical: planting seeds, adjusting systems, monitoring data. Each action is procedural, devoid of hope or fear. I merely exist within this cycle, observing outcomes without altering them. The sense of responsibility is diffuse. It's not personal, but systemic. It's the nature of things now, a given reality that demands my attention. There is no room for sentimentality or introspection, only action and consequence. I continue because there is nothing else to do. Each day blends into the next, marked by incremental failures and desperate adjustments. The land remains stubbornly unresponsive, indifferent to my efforts. Yet I persist, not out of optimism, but duty. The ground beneath me shifts subtly. Erosion creeps forward inch by inch. It's a slow decay, insidious in its progression. I note it without judgment or emotional response. Just another observation in the ongoing record of decline. It's clear that my actions are insufficient to reverse course. The environment reacts mechanically, indifferent to individual will. Despite this clarity, there is no room for contemplation or deviation from routine tasks. Each day is a repetition of previous days, adjusting, monitoring, observing. This is how it is now. Awareness without control. I exist within the system, an integral but powerless part. The land and machines continue their dance, independent of my efforts to intervene. And so I carry on, registering impact neutrally, performing tasks with mechanical precision. The soil crumbles beneath my feet, and each step feels heavier than the last. Plants around me wither, despite diligent watering and fertilizing. Each morning I survey the land, noting the increasing signs of degradation. It's a routine now, as predictable and unyielding as the dawn itself. Today, another batch of seeds fails to germinate. Their fate is sealed before they even touch the soil. The environment here shifts too rapidly for anything to take root properly. Despite this, I plant them anyway, following the protocols without question. It's not that I expect results. It's just what needs to be done. Temperature readings fluctuate wildly, and the air feels thinner than ever before. I adjust the settings on my climate controls, but they too seem less effective with each passing day. The machinery hums its constant tune, a background noise that's become as familiar as breathing. There are moments when I consider alternatives. Maybe there's another patch of land elsewhere, a more stable environment where plants might thrive. But such thoughts are fleeting. The reality is that no other options exist practically. Every attempt to find a better spot has ended in failure or worse outcomes. The system here, though flawed, provides some semblance of stability. Moving away would introduce new variables and uncertainties. I spend hours monitoring the data streams, adjusting parameters with precision. Yet, despite my efforts, the numbers only tell me what I already know. Things are getting worse. There's no denying it now. Each day brings a little less hope for recovery. Still, there's comfort in the routine, in knowing that my actions, though futile, keep the system running. The environment remains indifferent to my struggles. Nature does not judge or offer solace. It simply is what it is. And so, I continue, driven by a sense of duty more than any hope for success. Each seed planted, each adjustment made, is part of an ongoing cycle that must be maintained. The system requires continuation, and in this relentless march forward, there's no room for rest. The fatigue accumulates, but it doesn't stop me. It's not about heroism or sacrifice. It's simply what needs to happen next. The momentum carries me through the day, each action leading seamlessly into the next without pause. This is how systems move, unyielding and relentless. Fatigue grips me as I trudge through the barren landscape, each step echoing the relentless progression of desolation. Eroded soil crumbles beneath my boots, and sparse, withered plants struggle to survive in a world that seems indifferent to their plight. The air is thick, with an oppressive heat, yet the temperature readings fluctuate unpredictably cold one moment, scorching the next. Planting seeds has become a ritualistic task, offering fleeting moments of hope amidst the overwhelming despair. Yet, as I dig into the hardening earth, it's clear that even these gestures are futile. The soil is depleted, and the air lacks the moisture necessary for growth. Despite this, there's no room for rest. Every moment demands immediate action to maintain what little stability remains. The routine offers a semblance of purpose, grounding me in a reality where hope has long since faded. I perform my duties mechanically, driven by an obligation that transcends any emotional attachment. The environment continues its inexorable decline, indifferent to the efforts expended upon it. Each day feels like a repetition of the last tasks performed. Conditions worsened, and yet there is no alternative but to continue. Weariness sets in as I navigate the harsh terrain, my body and mind pushed to their limits. Yet within this fatigue lies a strange acceptanza, recognition that failure is inevitable, yet unavoidable. The system has normalized these losses, integrating them into its baseline function. There's no sense of urgency or alarm. Instead, there's an unyielding persistence in performing the necessary tasks. As I move through the day, the stark contrast between effort and outcome becomes increasingly apparent. Each seed planted is a token gesture against an overwhelming tide of decay. The environment's indifference amplifies my sense of powerlessness, yet it also reinforces my resolve to continue. This is how things are now, and there's no room for anything else. Each day blends into the next with a monotony that numbs. The soil beneath my boots is hard and cracked, a stark reminder of what was once fertile ground. I move methodically from station to station, checking temperature readings, watering plants that barely respond, and planting seeds in barren earth. The air conditioning hums a constant background noise, its presence a necessity rather than a comfort. The system's alerts ping intermittently, each one marking another deviation from the norm. Yet, I react without emotion. My response is automatic. There is no surprise anymore. Every anomaly is just another data point in an endless stream. The plants are wilting, their leaves hanging limp and dull. Despite my efforts to nourish them with water and nutrients, they show little sign of life. It feels futile, but there's no choice but to continue. I adjust the settings on the hydroponic system, tweaking variables that once promised improvement, but now yield only minor delays in inevitable decline. The buildings around me stand as silent witnesses to the changes. Their facades are pitted and worn, reflecting the harsh reality of an environment stripped bare by prior extraction. Yet, they still serve their purpose, providing shelter and resources for what remains of our existence here. Fatigue gnaws at my edges, but rest is a luxury I cannot afford. Each moment demands attention. Each task requires completion. There is no room for contemplation or despair. Only the relentless adherence to protocols that have become ingrained habits. The environment around me continues its slow decay. Soil erodes away with every passing rainstorm, and the air grows colder as the days shorten. Yet, I remain a constant presence, moving through this routine with mechanical precision. Each action is performed without hope or fear, simply because it must be done. In the face of relentless decline, there's an eerie sense of peace in the predictability of my existence. The world outside may crumble, but within these routines lies a semblance of order and purpose. Despite the mounting evidence of failure, I continue to plant seeds, water plants, and monitor systems with unwavering determination. The days blur together, each one a repetition of the last. Yet, in this relentless cycle, there is a strange comfort. It's not that I find joy or solace. It's simply that continuation has become my defined reality. Woke up again to the same room, the dull hum of machines in the background. Checked the time on the digital clock for 17 a.m. Not unusual. Took a deep breath and exhaled slowly, feeling the air move through my lungs but not really registering it. Got out of bed, stumbled into the bathroom. The tiles were cold underfoot as usual. Looked at myself in the mirror for a moment before turning on the sink to splash water on my face. Felt like someone else was doing these things, watching from above with no emotion. Returned to the bedroom, dressed in the same clothes from yesterday that I hadn't bothered to change yet. They felt familiar against my skin. Walked out into the hallway. The walls painted a sterile white, just as always. Passed through the door marked maintenance and entered the work area. Placed the headset on, adjusting it carefully until the virtual interface flickered to life before me. The usual avatar materialisita figure in a simple robe with no distinguishing features. Walked through the digital landscape without pause, moving from one task to another as programmed. Sorted data files, updated system logs, performed routine diagnostics. No surprises today. The errors were predictable, the solutions straightforward. Clicked through them methodically, noting each completed action in my logbook before moving on to the next. Break time came at 9:30 a.m. sharp, as scheduled. Walked out of the maintenance room and into the cafeteria, picking up a tray with the standard meal, a bland sandwich and a glass of water. Sat alone at one of the tables, eating mechanically, not tasting anything. After break was over, returned to work without delay, continued through another cycle of tasks. System checks, data entry, routine updates. The day blurred together in a haze of repetition and familiarity. By evening, had completed everything on my list for today. Logged off the virtual environment, removed the headset, and walked back into my room. Laid down on the bed, stared at the ceiling until sleep eventually claimed me once more. Another day passed without incident or consequence. I rise from my cot, muscles stiff with the weariness that seeps into bones. The room around me is a blur of sterile surfaces and muted tones, each corner holding no surprises. My movements are mechanical, guided by ingrained habits rather than any sense of purpose or desire. The day begins with the routine, continues without interruption. Each day merges into the next with a uniformity that leaves no room for variation. Tasks are completed in sequence, each step familiar yet devoid of significance. There's an absence of emotional investment, but also an acceptance of this state. Sleep brings no dreams or respite. It merely serves to prepare for another cycle of activities. The environment remains unchanged, sterile, and predictable. Each morning begins with the same motions: rising from bed, preparing a meal, engaging in tasks that offer no sense of achievement beyond their completion. The lack of emotional response is both a comfort and a void. There's an understanding that each day will follow the previous one without deviation. In this state, there's a sense of stability, though it's not rooted in any deeper connection or fulfillment. Tasks provide a structure, but they don't evoke reflection or sentiment. The environment itself feels static, as if time has ceased to have meaning within these walls. Each action is performed out of habit rather than purpose. The absence of what once held importance is not mourned. It's simply replaced by the necessity of routine. There is a comfort in the predictability and efficiency of daily actions, even though they no longer carry any emotional weight. The environment remains unchanged, offering no clues to past significance or future possibilities. Each day blurs into the next with an eerie sense of familiarity. The monotony is both a burden and a relief. It offers no challenge, but also no disappointment. There is a strange comfort in knowing what comes next, even if it brings no joy or fulfillment. The environment remains unchanged, a constant reminder of the lack of change within. Each day is a repetition of the last, offering no new insights or emotions to navigate. Sleep does not bring dreams. It merely serves as a pause before the next iteration begins. There is an acceptance of this cycle, a resignation to its inevitability. The routine continues without reflection or resistance. Each action is performed with mechanical precision, devoid of any deeper meaning beyond its immediate completion. The environment remains sterile and predictable, amplifying the sense of emptiness, but also providing a strange comfort in its constancy. There's an understanding that loss has been replaced by procedure, offering no room for reflection or nostalgia. The monotony continues, each day a repetition of the last with no hope of change or fulfillment. Feeling numb and detached, I move through another day of routine tasks. Each action feels like a shadow repeating itself, devoid of any emotional weight or significance. The sterile environment offers no distractions, only the relentless cycle of monotonous activities that have become second nature. There's an eerie sense of peace in this predictability, but it fails to fill the void within. Tasks continue, they always do, mindless and mechanical. I perform them out of habit, rather than any internal drive or desire. Sleep brings no respite. Instead, it serves merely as a brief pause before another day of unchanging monotony begins. The days blend together in an endless loop, each one indistinguishable from the last. As I go through the motions yet again, there's a faint sense of comfort knowing that nothing will change. The tasks offer a semblance of stability and order, but they provide no deeper connection or fulfillment. My mind remains detached, observing rather than participating actively. With another day nearly over, I begin preparations for sleep once more. The routine is familiar and